Look closely at the letters you are reading on this screen right now. They seem like simple, meaningless shapes, just a set of lines and curves. But every single one of them was once a tiny picture of a real thing. The letter A was once the head of an ox. The letter B was once the simple drawing of a house. And the letter M was once the rippling waves of water. The letter O was once an eye, and the letter K was once a hand. Right now, without ever knowing it, you are reading in tiny hidden pictures. These pictures have simply been smoothed and abstracted over thousands of years. So where did these letters come from, and how did they take over the whole world? The answer goes back nearly 4,000 years to a group no one expected. And it is quietly one of the most important stories in all of human history. To understand it, we first have to picture a world with no alphabet at all. Writing already existed back then, but it was nothing at all like our letters. The Egyptians wrote in hieroglyphs, hundreds of complex little pictures. In faraway lands, others carved wedge-shaped marks into wet clay tablets. Each symbol could stand for a whole word or an idea or a sound. To read and write, you had to memorize many hundreds of them. It took years and years of hard training to ever truly master. A single mistake could completely change the meaning of a whole sentence. So writing belonged only to priests, scribes, and the powerful few. For almost everyone else, the written word was completely out of reach. A simple farmer or a sailor had almost no hope of ever learning to read. Writing was a locked door, and only a very few people held the key. But then, around 3,800 years ago, something changed. Deep in the Egyptian desert, there were remote mines and rough work camps. Men came from distant lands to dig for turquoise and precious blue stone. Working there was a group of foreign laborers who had come from the east. They spoke a Semitic language, the distant ancestor of Hebrew and Arabic. These were ordinary working people, not highly trained royal scribes. They could not read the complicated Egyptian hieroglyphs all around them. But they saw the pictures, and they had a truly brilliant idea. They wanted to write down their own language, not the language of Egypt. An idea so simple that it would eventually change the entire world. They scratched their new symbols onto the rocks and mine walls around them. Here is the pure genius of what these desert workers actually did. In hieroglyphs, a picture usually stood for a whole word or a full idea. But the workers decided to use a picture for only its very first sound. The picture no longer meant a thing at all. It now only meant a sound. Think about how we might teach the alphabet to a young child today. A is for apple, so a little picture of an apple could stand for the sound A. The workers did exactly this, but using the words in their own language. Their word for an ox was aleph, and it began with a soft A sound. So a simple little drawing of an ox now just meant the sound A. A house was no longer a house, it was simply the sound of its name. Suddenly, you did not need hundreds of complicated symbols anymore. You needed only about 24 simple pictures, one for each sound. It was the birth of the alphabet, and almost anyone could learn it. For the very first time, writing was no longer just for the powerful few. And this is exactly why our letters still hide ancient pictures inside them. Take the very first letter of all, our capital A. Turn it completely upside down, and you can still clearly see it. The two legs become the horns, and the point becomes the face of the ox. The letter A is quite literally the head of an ox. It has simply been slowly rotated and simplified over thousands of years. Now look at the letter B, which came straight from their word for house. The earliest version was simply a small drawing of the plan of a home. The letter M came from mem, which was their word for water. Its zigzag shape is really just the ripples and waves on the surface. You can almost feel the water gently moving in that simple little shape. The letter H began as a fence, and the letter K began as a hand. The letter O began as an eye, still round and open on the page today. Every letter you write is secretly a tiny picture in disguise. And there is a beautiful little clue hiding inside a word we use every day. Their very first letter was aleph, the ox. Their very second letter was bet, the house. Now say those first two letters together out loud. Aleph, bet. Aleph, bet, alphabet. The word itself is simply those first two pictures, the ox and the house. Hidden inside a word you say all the time is an ancient ox and a home. At first, this new kind of writing was just a small local experiment. Then it was picked up by one of history's greatest trading peoples. The Phoenicians were master sailors from the eastern Mediterranean coast. Their home was in the region we now call Lebanon and its neighbors. They sailed almost everywhere, buying and selling across the ancient seas. For all of that trade, they needed fast and simple record-keeping. The new alphabet was absolutely perfect, so they used it and spread it. It was quick to learn, quick to write, and perfect for busy merchants. Everywhere their ships landed, they carried the letters along with them. Their alphabet did have one quirk. It was made only of consonants. In their language, the consonants carried the meaning, so vowels were skipped. A reader would simply fill in the missing vowel sounds from memory. Then the alphabet reached the ancient Greeks, and they finally made it whole. The Greeks truly loved the Phoenician system, but they had one problem. Their language really needed clear vowel sounds like A, E, and O. Without vowels written down, their words could become confusing to read. So they did something wonderfully clever with the leftover spare letters. The Phoenician alphabet had some consonants the Greeks simply did not use. So the Greeks took those unused letters and turned them into vowels. The ox aleph was reshaped into alpha, the vowel A, and their word for housebet became the Greek letter beta. For the very first time in history, an alphabet had both consonants and vowels. This was the first complete alphabet, able to spell out almost anything. Suddenly, poetry, philosophy, and whole stories could be written down exactly. From the Greeks, the alphabet then spread out in every single direction. It passed onward to the Romans, who shaped the letters on this very screen. That Roman alphabet is the one used across most of the world today. These are the very same letters you are looking at in this sentence. But that Roman path was only one of its many spreading branches. Another branch grew directly into the Hebrew and the Arabic scripts. Those flowing scripts look completely different, yet share the very same root. Another traveled far to the east and became the many scripts of India. Almost every single alphabet on Earth flows from that one ancient source. Billions of people writing in dozens of scripts all share one hidden origin. And it all began with a handful of workers in an Egyptian desert. People whose names we will almost certainly never even know. So the next time you write even a single word, remember what you are truly doing. You are drawing an ox, a house, and the gentle ripples of water. You are using an invention that is nearly 4,000 years old. It is perhaps the single most powerful invention no one ever talks about. An idea so powerful that it finally unlocked writing for everyone. A few forgotten workers quietly gave the whole world its voice on the page, and their tiny ancient pictures are still hidden in every letter you read. Follow to see history the way it actually looked.